Long before the roads of iron and the thunder of engines, when the forests were thick and the drums carried messages farther than the wind, there stood a proud kingdom in the heart of Yorubaland. The kingdom was called Ilu Ara-oke, a land of red earth, tall palm trees, and warriors whose names were spoken with reverence. The Gathering of the Warriors. At the center of the town square stood the carved palace pillars. The people were dressed in flowing asa-oke, richly woven with deep indigo and crimson threads. The chiefs were embroidered agbada, their coral beads shining under the sun. Women tied vibrant gele around their heads, and young boys carried talking drums at their sides. But the warriors, they were different. Each warrior wore thick hand-woven wrappers tied tightly around their waists, leather belts strapped across their chests, and charms sewn into their garments. Around their arms were secret voodoo ties, strips of consecrated cloth filled with powdered herbs, cowries, and protective incantations. These ties were not decoration, they were covenants with the unseen world. Their leader was Akinlapan, a tall warrior whose shoulders seemed carved from stone. His arm charms were darker than the rest, soaked in rituals performed by the village babalawo under the moonlight. The threat from the dark forest. For many seasons, a rival warband from the northern savannah had threatened the peace of the kingdom. They raided farms at dusk and vanished before sunrise. Crops burned, hunters disappeared. One evening, the palace drums beat in urgency. The Oba of the land, seated on his carved throne, spoke. "The spirits have warned us. The enemy marches at dawn." Silence fell like a heavy cloth. Akinlatan stepped forward. His arm ties rustled softly as though whispering, "We will meet them before they cross the river Oshun." The night of ritual. Before battle, the warriors gathered in a sacred grove dedicated to Ogun, the god of iron and war. A fire burned bright. The babalawo marked their foreheads with white chalk. Incantations filled the night air. Each warrior extended his arms as sacred oil was rubbed into the voodoo ties. The charms pulsed with belief and fearlessness. Akinlatan raised his cutlass to the sky. "If we fall as sons of this land." Thunder answered. The battle at River Oshun. At dawn, mist covered the riverbank. The enemy appeared, fierce, painted in ash and red clay. But the Yoruba warriors stood firm. Their traditional garments flowed with movement as they advanced. Leather shields clashed against spears. Cutlasses sang against metal. The arm ties swung with each strike, herbs scattering into the wind. It was said that arrows aimed at Akinlatan bent away mid-air. Some claimed they saw shadows of ancient warriors fighting beside them. The river ran red, but it did not carry the sons of Ilu Ara-oke away. By sunset, the enemy fled into the forest. The return. When the warriors returned, the entire kingdom gathered. Drums roared in triumph. Women sang praise poetry. The Oba placed a beaded crown upon Akinlatan's head. "Not only your strength saved us, but your faith in our ways," he declared. From that day forward, young boys tied small strips of cloth around their arms in imitation, not yet filled with power, but filled with pride. And so the story of the warriors of Ilu Ara-oke lived on, carried in drums, in chants, and in the secret voodoo ties that bound courage to destiny. Kindly follow and subscribe to this channel for you to have access to more interesting stories all the time.